Everyone says if you drink after being sober, you've lost all your progress. I think that's completely wrong. Here's why. I spent 20 years stuck in the cycle of starting over too many times to count. But I've been sober now for 5 years, and this is what I've learned. Treating relapse as failure is exactly what kept me stuck drinking. Once I understood that relapse is part of the recovery process and not proof of my failure, everything changed. Let me break down why back to day one mindset does not work and what actually does. Look, I understand why start from the day one approach after sleep became standard. We live in a society that rewards success, not effort. Even Master Yoda said, do or do not. There is no trying. Plus, from the outside, addiction looks like moral failure, weakness, or irresponsibility because the behavior is so irrational and our culture demands accountability, and the counting sounds like accountability. But here's the problem. The all or nothing mindset that erases months of progress because of one drink is not accountability, it's shame. And shame doesn't help you to stay sober. It keeps you stuck. Here's why get back to day one does not work. Because your brain does not forget about the last 90 days you spent sober. The new neural paths you've been laying out do not get erased just because of one drink. The coping skills you built, the techniques that allow you to manage your triggers, and the relationships that you started to rebuild don't get erased overnight, but it's actually worse. The start over mentality creates the exact problem it's trying to prevent. It triggers what psychologists call the abstinence violation effect, which is when you have one drink, you feel like you've lost everything. And that triggers a shame spiral that leads you to a fucking moment. I already ruined it, so might as well continue drinking. What should have been a single slip becomes days or weeks of drinking because you think you're back to zero. And this happened to me over 20 years, more times than I care to count. And it wasn't until I joined an intensive outpatient program where I met other people that were in the same circumstance as me. I realized it was not about personal failure or weakness of character. We did not have the right coping strategies. We did not know how to identify the things that were triggering us. We didn't have the emotional regulation skills that allowed us to stay stopped. And we did not need shame piled on top of that. Since then, I worked with a lot of people that report the same pattern. They go on a wedding trip and they have a few drinks. They come back and they feel like, I've lost my sobriety. But here is what is actually true. They didn't lose anything. They are still over a year sober, period. They just had a couple of drinks over one night. That's data, not a disaster. So what should you do instead? Track your data on a spectrum, not on a binary system. Instead of days sober, where one drink resets you back to zero, track percentage days sober or drinks avoided. These are more useful and motivating metrics. For example, I had 3 drinks in the last 120 days instead of the 360 drinks I would have had in the past. That's massive progress. This is real change happening in your brain and in your life. Here is why it works. It aligns with how your brain actually works. Neuroplasticity doesn't reset overnight. The progress you made, it's still there. And when you reframe a slip as, this month I lost 2% of my progress versus I lost 100% of my progress, there's no catastrophic thinking to trigger a full relapse. You can course correct in 24 hours instead of spiraling down for weeks. Plus, it removes the shame that keeps you hiding when a relapse or a lapse become a learning opportunity. What triggered this? What was I feeling? What can I do different next time? By asking these questions, you can actually get better over time. So each relapse becomes useful data. And here's what happens. I've worked with people that have stayed sober for 30, 60 days, 9 months, and then they slip. And this slip turned into weeks or months of drinking because they thought they lost everything. When they shifted to progress-based thinking, everything changed. One man I worked with had relapsed constantly after staying sober for 6 month stretches. Each slip destroyed him because he felt he was back to square one. But once we reframed it, you've had 2 drinks in the last 90 days instead of the hundreds of drinks you would normally have. He stopped catastrophizing, and now he's 1 year sober. And in the beginning, when he did slip once, he got back on track within a day. No shame spiral, no fuck it moment. Okay, that happened. What can I learn? Let's keep going. What about you? Have you been stuck in this start over cycle over 6, 9 months sober and then going back because of one night of drinking, and then you said, oh, fuck it, I might as well keep going? Let me know in the comments, because I am curious to know who has experienced this exact pattern. And I'm telling you, it's not about you being broken or flawed, it's about the mindset that is broken. If this is resonating with you and you feel like your strong emotions are behind a lot of your drinking, check out a free resource I put together, the Reset Method, which will teach you how to handle those strong emotions and urges so they don't get the best of you and you don't end up drinking. If you're watching this and you're having the holy shit moment right now, you're not alone. You probably already know deep down that beating yourself over drinking and starting over is not the right way. You just were told that if you slipped, it's because you were not trying hard enough. You didn't have enough discipline, or that there was something fundamentally wrong with you. But here's the truth. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. The method is broken. Trying is recovery. Progress isn't perfect. And one drink does not erase the progress that is happening in your life and in your brain. And this is exactly what I help family men do. I help them to break free from alcohol with compassion and neuroscience, not shame or white knuckling it, so they can rebuild trust and leadership and become the man, the father, the husband that they know they can be. Because here's what I know. You don't need more shame. You need more tools. You don't need to feel like a failure one more time. You need to know what's happening to your brain when you get an urge. And you need to know how to handle strong emotions without reaching out for a drink. And if you're a family man who's ready to break the cycle permanently, tired of the misalignment between what you know and what you feel, let's talk. Men like you benefit from my Sober Now framework. It will map out exactly what's keeping you stuck. Build the tools you need to handle urges and emotions and map out a path forward that does not require you waiting for some dangerous rock bottom moment. Schedule a free call with me. The link is in the description. Let's figure this out together. And if you enjoyed this video, check out this one where I cover the main reasons behind relapses and how to prevent them. This is Alex Rivera, the Sober Dad. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.